actually makes you go to sleep real fast. It's great. I mean, I understand how little babies are cradled by their mummies for them to go to sleep. But why can't my mom keep cradling me even though I'm this big? It helps me go to sleep. I'm going to ask my mom to cradle me when I go to sleep so I can sleep faster. Very quick. No? Alright. As usual, I have 6 questions. I still have homework, which I'm going to do with you. It makes it more interesting, more fun, and we both learn new things, don't we? Yeah. So let's get straight to it. Question number 1. A dog has 2 different air passages. What are they used for? A dog has 2 different air passages. What are they used for? Option 1. For breathing and smelling. Option 2. For smelling and tasting. Option 3. All of the above. Alright, now the first one. Let's go through them one by one. Okay. The first one says for breathing and smelling. So, you breathe from your nose and sometimes out of your mouth. But, having an air passage for breathing makes sense because it's air. You go. So it makes sense. So yeah, for breathing is correct. Then it says for smelling. You need air to smell as well. And then you identify what scent it is and thereafter. So it also makes sense that you need an air passage for smelling. So I guess answer A sounds about right. But we'll check the other answers as well, just in case. Option number 2. For smelling and tasting. For smelling, like we said before, it's true. You need an air passage for smelling, so it makes sense. The second part, however, tasting. You need your tongue for tasting. How are you going to taste? With air. You can smell it, you can't taste it. So I don't think the tasting part makes sense, which means option B is out. Third option, all of the above. We already know A is the correct answer. And if B is not the correct answer, how can all of the above be the answer? So, I'm going to go with option number 1. A dog has 2 different air passages for breathing and smelling.
The answer is
for breathing and smelling.
See? Told you. The 2 air passages are for breathing and smelling. Okay, let's move on to question number 2. What were the star constellations used for in the ancient times? You know what star constellations are, right? When you look at the night sky, there are pretty stars up high in the sky, twinkling for us to see. Well, if you look closer, you will understand that you could connect these stars, like how you connect dots, and you get different sorts of pictures. Those are star constellations. Now, these were used in the ancient times for different purposes. Now, we are supposed to figure out what these purposes were. So, we have 3 options as always. Option number 1, for navigation. It could be true. I mean, there's this bow and arrow star constellation where the bow points towards a certain direction, and usually travelers would look for the constellation in the night sky and follow the arrow. For instance, remember in the Moana movie, towards the nightfall part of the movie, you could see an arrow not an arrow, remember the hook? You know, Maui's hook, having its own star constellation showing where it is now. Or maybe it was where Fiji was. I can't actually remember. But you know what I mean. The hook, which was there as a star constellation. So Moana used it to navigate and figure out where the place was. So likewise, back in the day, they used these star constellations to navigate. So option 1 is correct. But again, go through the other options just for safekeeping. Understand? Okay. Second one. To keep track of the calendar. Star constellations. Could be, depending on how the star constellations move or what constellations appear and all of these, I believe you can take care of the calendar through that as well. So I guess option number 2 is also correct. I wonder if option number 3 is also correct. Option number 3, both of the above. That makes sense because option A and B are both correct. So you know the obvious answer, I know the obvious answer, and the obvious answer is option number 3, both of the above.
The answer is
Both of the above.
I was correct. So next time if you're lost, make sure you look at the star constellation. But if you're lost in daylight, well, then you have a problem. Don't get lost. Don't. Always know where you're going. If you don't, always have adult supervision when you're going somewhere. In that case, if you get lost or something, the adult would know what exactly to do. Okay? Okay. Third question. What are the common injuries when doing sports? Now, doing sports means you have to be active, you have to be quick, you have to sweat a little, you have to use your brain. While doing so, you could slip and fall, or different sports equipment could end up knocking on you. You might get sprains, your muscles may get too stretched and all that. Then you get different sorts of injuries. But there are some sorts of diseases and injuries and all of that could happen to you when you do sports, specifically the common ones. So I closed the book also. Let's see what these are. Okay. Option number 1. Muscle pulls, back strains, and foot aches. Muscle pulls. Yeah, you stretch it too far and you get a little bit of an ache. Then back strain. Oh yeah, you do a certain sport. Throughout the day you get tired and your back gets hurt. So yeah, back strain is quite possible. Then you get foot aches. Of course, because you might be running around, you might be standing in the sun, or you might have knocked it somewhere while trying to jump off the ledge to the pool or something like that. So it's quite possible to get foot aches. So I'm going to say option A is correct. It sounds about right. But let's check the others as well. Option number 2. You could get heart attacks, diabetes, and tennis elbow. Heart attacks could happen during sports because of too much tension or too much excitement or all of that. It could happen. But there's a very, very low chance of that happening, but it could. Then you have diabetes. I don't think you get diabetes when you play sports. I mean, in that case, when you play sports, your heart attack probabilities, your possibilities are also really low. They're not very common. And then you have tennis elbow, which is quite a common thing when it comes to sports. But because of heart attacks and specifically diabetes, I'm going to say option B is not correct. We still have option C remaining. So, option C is cholesterol, sprained ankles and cramps. Sprained ankle parts, so true, happens a lot of times. Cramps also do happen if you don't stretch properly or you overuse yourself, could happen. But cholesterol is something that reduces when you do sports. you don't get cholesterol because you do sports. That doesn't happen. Even if it does, it isn't common. So I don't think answer C is correct either. So I'm gonna go with answer A. Muscle pulls, back strains and foot aches.
The answer is
Muscle pulls, back strains and foot aches. See? Correct answer. Okay. So the thing about sports is a really good thing and everyone should do sports. It keeps you active, healthy and fit. But when it comes to sports, injuries are quite common. So when you get an injury during sports, make sure you take care of it first. Because at the time, in the moment, you might not feel it. You might think it's a minor damage, it's cool, I can deal with it, I don't feel a thing. But no. It might not feel like much at that time. But you should get it checked by a doctor. Because if you don't, sometimes it could lead to a disease where you won't be able to play sports ever again. So it doesn't hurt you to go and check out with a doctor whether it's a big injury or not. It might not seem like a huge deal from outside, but inside it could be a mess. So when you get injured while doing sports or anything for that matter, go consult a doctor, go tell your parents, they'll know what exactly to do. Also the other thing is maybe you go bicycle riding or something like that and you fall and you injure your foot. Well, you're getting medicated, but don't stop riding bicycles. Just because you fall down, you should not stay down. Stand right back up again, medicate yourself, and if it's okay, if they give you a green card to go ahead and then do the sport again, go ahead and do it. And even if your condition is a bit bad, wait till you're fully recovered and get back to doing your sport. Understand? Okay. All of this sport talk, even though you should do sports to get tired, I'm tired of talking about sports. Literally, my throat is dry. So I'm going to go ahead inside and get a glass of water, drink it as fast as I can, and run back here. Stay right there. Hello! I'm back. Okay, I went inside, drank a big glass of water. I'm cool. My thirst is gone. My throat is not dry anymore. All good. So let's get straight to the other question. Question number 4. Oh, true or false? Strawberries are not berries, but bananas are berries. True or false? Strawberry is not a berry. Banana is a berry. What do you mean by a berry? A berry is something, a fruit, with its seeds inside the fruit and the seeds being covered by a thick, juicy layer of the fruit. You know what I'm saying? So you take blackberries, you take blueberries, all of them have their seeds in the middle and are covered by a thick layer of the fruit. Come to think of it, bananas are the same. You have those tiny black seeds in the middle and you have a thick layer of the fruit. So it does make sense that banana is a berry. So, strawberry, however, has its seeds outside. There's a thick layer of the fruit, and outside this thick layer, there are tons of seeds. So it's not technically a berry because the seeds are outside. Right. So in that case, the statement is true. Strawberries are not berries, but bananas are berries.
The answer is
True.
Strawberries are not berries, bananas are berries. Okay. Now since we know that's true, let's move on to our fifth question. Okay. Which country is the largest consumer of energy. We have in first place America, in second Russia, in third China. So, is it America, is it Russia, or is it China? America is a developed country with a lot of tech happening, with a lot of people, who's on trend and everything's happening. But compared to the other two countries, as in Russia and China, America does not have a lot of people. No? Yeah. Okay, so I don't think it's option number 1. Then option number 2 was Russia. Russia is also a huge country, which is also a developed country. So you would think that they use the most amount of energy. But then you have China. China is a big country. There's a lot of people in China. And also, China is a very developed country, especially in the technology sector. So when it comes to tech, you need a lot of energy for it. And given the fact that you have a lot of people, you still need more energy. So I'm assuming that based on the population, their development in tech, China could be the country which uses the most amount of energy. So let's hope my guess is correct. I'm going to say the answer is option number 3, China.
The answer is
China.
I was correct. Okay, so remember, China is the country which is the largest consumer of energy. Highest consumption of energy? China! Okay, let's move on to our 6th question, our final question. Okay. These are the names of extremely or rather highly respected personalities in Sri Lanka. Which one amongst these names is shown in the picture? What picture? Oh, that picture. Alright, so we have to match the name to this picture. We have 3 names of highly respected people in Sri Lanka. So let's check out who this is. Okay, firstly, we have Mr. Martin Wickramasinghe. Then we have, in option number 2, Professor Edrivira Sarachandra. Then we have Mr. Mahagamasekara. Familiar face. I believe this is a playwright. I have watched a few of his plays. And I think I know who it is. I think it's option 2, Professor Edrivira Sarachandra.
the answer is
Professor Edrivira Sarachandra. See? Told you it was Professor Sarachandra. Professor Edrivira Sarachandra. See? Alright, so I've got a couple of facts about this extremely respectful individual. So let's dive straight in. Professor Edrivira Sarachandra was a Sri Lankan playwright, novelist, poet, literary critic, essayist and social commentator. He is considered as Sri Lanka's premier playwright. He was a senior lecturer at the University of Peradeniya for many years and served as Sri Lankan ambassador to France during the period of 1974 to 1977. Professor Sarachandra was born on the 3rd June 1914. He completed his early education at Richmond College in Galle, St. John's College, Panadura, St. Thomas College, Mount Lavinia, and St. Aloysius College in Galle. Professor Sarachandra started his career as a teacher at St. Peter's College in Colombo 4. He then joined the publishing company Lake House in an administrative position. In 1933, gained admission to the Ceylon University College and offered Pali, Sanskrit and Sinhala for the first degree and passed out in 1936 with the first class and sat for the Ceylon Civil Service examination because of his parents' insistence and came first in the island. Mr. Sarachandra, Professor Sarachandra, produced his first stylized play, Maname, in 1956 to widespread acclaim. Maname is generally considered the first real Sinhala drama, signaling the translation from the Nadagam or folk drama to the modern theatrical drama format. It was praised especially for drawing influence from the traditional Nadagam play style. He continued as a playwright, developing his play Singabahu in 1961, which is widely considered as his best work. Most of his plays were adaptations from Buddhist Jatakas or Sinhala folklore, giving his work instant and lasting popularity with the population that identified with their roots. The University of Jaffna and the University of Peradeniya conferred Professor Sarachandra the degree of Doctor of Literature in 1982. Also in that year, he was made an, big word, Emeritus Professor at the University of Peradeniya. In 1983, the state of Kerala in South India awarded Professor Sarachandra the Kumaran Asan World Prize. Big words. Okay. In 1988, he won the Ramon Magsaysay Award for Literature. It's equivalent to a Nobel Prize. That's what I know. Okay. So as you know, a couple of plays that he has written were Maname, Singhabahu, Eloging Melawava, Ratharan, and there's so many more. So, being good children of Sri Lanka, we should also step into our cultural roots. So if you have the time, and if your parents have the time, go and ask them to take you to one of these stage dramas. Maname, Singhabahu, Elavagihing Melawava, these plays have a lot of meaning to it. It's deep, it's sometimes funny, and it gives you a different sort of feeling. It's different from watching TV or watching movies, going to a theatre. It's a completely different experience, trust me. So stage dramas, you get it then and there with live actors performing, putting their heart out on stage, all for you to enjoy and learn. So, if you know a place where these great stage dramas are being shown, do not miss it. Worry your parents a little bit. Ask them to take you. Trust me, they will. Because they loved it when they were young, they still love it. So, they would love if you would like to love it as well. So, make sure you go watch a couple of stage dramas here and there. Understand? Okay. And that's the end of my 6 questions. Alright, a huge thank you for all of you who helped me finish my homework. I could not have done it without you. But if you have any doubts that you want to ask me, don't worry, you can send all your questions to that address right over there. Or you could call me on that number. You could also take a picture of your question and WhatsApp or Viber it to me. It's that simple. Or you could send me a message on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. The link is right over there. If you missed a couple of episodes or missed a couple of questions you want to revise, you have a feeling it might come for your paper, don't worry, head on straight to our YouTube channel. All of the questions and answers will be right there. Okay, so that's it for today. Once again, thank you so much for finishing off, as in helping me in finishing off my homework. Here's to hoping to see you next week with another lot of questions. Till next time, Tabby out!